Hello, this is Scott Sackett. I thought I would share like an overview of one of my sketchbooks. And so this is the sketchbook I'm going to review, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the sketchbook itself. This is as you can see, a Fabriano Classic Artist Journal. This is the 7x9 version. It has 192 sheets. I want to show it because I put a cover on mine, but I want to show it without the cover. I originally bought this probably 3 or 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago when I was in New York City. There used to be an art supply store on Canal Street. They had them. These are typically about $30 if you buy them online. They're hard to find. I only know of a couple places that carry them. And I keep thinking they're going to phase them out. So last time I bought them, I actually bought 4 of these, not counting the one that I filled already, or I've mostly filled. But I like them. They're a good size. This is a good size. This is about the size of of the big moleskin, not the real big one, but I think they call it the large, which is like 9 by 5.5, I think, or something like that. And so this is about that size. So if you're unfamiliar with them, and I'll go to the open one now. Now what I've done is I've pasted an old pulp cover on the top of mine, and it's because I drew on it when I first got it, and I didn't care for it, and I wanted to give it. These covers are paper, and I'll show you. One of the problems is the binding. You see, falls apart, but the book is so nice, and it lays almost flat. And I really, if you can find them, I said I bought 4 of them last time. The reason I ordered them, and so I have 5 of these, counting this one that I'm working on. But when I found them last time, occasionally find them on clearance online, and so I snapped up a bunch of them because my fear is that they won't. That at one point they'll stop making them because they've kind of moved away from this. They were a little easier to find several years ago, but now they're almost impossible. So when I had it, I snapped up a few. So I'm going to go through the sketchbook. Now, I've had this for like 3 years. It's got 192 sheets, which is almost 400 pages. And I draw front and back of my pages. And so some of these you can see it's coming apart there. So I put my name and stuff in there. And I drew a Batman early on. Now, this is old work, so I'll kind of skip through this. But you can see. Now, there is a little bit, like a bound sketchbook, it is a little harder to work on. But I think for this size, I mean, if you're used to working in a moleskin, it's similar. But it's got a nice heft to it. A friend of mine compared it to a Bible, like it's something it just feels good to carry. But again, this paper is basically like cardstock. And you can see I put a little bit of packing tape on the end of mine to kind of give it a little bit of grip. So this is probably 3 years ago, and I'm not. And these originally I didn't date these pages, and so you can kind of see they're pretty rough. I was, still trying to figure it out. Now the nice thing about this sketchbook is it takes pencil pretty well, I think. Now I don't know, I'm gonna hold this a little bit closer. I don't know if you can see it, but there's maybe you can see it there. I don't know if it'll show up in the video, but it's kind of a linen paper. In other words, it's got a little bit of a grain to it, but it's hard. It's not mushy. I don't like drawing on mushy paper. So, there's Ignatius Riley, the hero of the book Confederacy of Dunces, one of my favorite books of all time. So there's and again, this is when I first got the book. I drew in it, and this is what the book is great for, just filling it with doodles. And it's got this particular one. They make 2 of these. This one has a tan paper and a white paper, and it alternates. And I like the white paper better, but it's see, some of this is rough. That looks pretty good. Like a truck, some sort, just kind of a Wolverine-ish-esque, really skinny. Again, I'm real bad. I'll draw my sketchbook, and then I'll realize that the drawings are terrible, so I'll stop drawing in it. Kind of a weird-looking Superman. But I was experimenting with different colored ink. I've done marker in here. I've done pen. Okay, yeah, these are dated from 17. I may have actually had it a little bit longer than that. I may have bought it in 16, and that's not bad. Wonder Woman. Kind of a Conan type there. when I was a kid. I had seen Stranger Things, so I drew a kid wearing with a hatchet and a thing. He's really big compared to that mailbox, though. For me, a kid. Oh, it's a Wolverine. That's not a bad Wolverine. And a Kitty Pryde. She's okay. An older Kitty Pryde. Oh, see here you can see I did a Phoenix and I did some white in the background to kind of offset on the tan paper. And I take a lot of notes in here. And it's a girl. Cyclops. I love the X-Men. I grew up drawing the X-Men. It's kind of a neat looking girl. Kind of drawing like a hipster kind of girl. I'll try and keep this video brief. I'm not quite done with this book. Kung Fu guy. Oh, Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. I was pretty happy with this one when it came out. I put a box around it, and then when I put it on Instagram, I like cropped it. You know, messing around with cross hatching. This does ink pretty good too, and nothing really bleeds through it in terms of like ink. Now, if you do markers, it'll bleed through. I don't know, drawing. Oh, this is in downtown Oklahoma City. There are tunnels, and this is me drawing some of the tunnels. And there's a building in downtown Oklahoma City that has a mooring on the top of it, similar to the Empire State Building, but it was actually designed to be a Zeppelin. You could dock a Zeppelin to it, and I don't know, go down by rope or something. Anyway. Oh, okay. So this is my friend. This is drawn from life. This is my friend Ellis Goodson, and again, we're in this downtown area. And that's the great thing about the sketchbook. It's so portable, and you can see this is with a high-tech C pen, and I put a little bit of water on it, and we were eating lunch, so probably just off a wet napkin. You see it kind of bled a little bit, and kind of give it a nice wash look to it. Lots of stuff, a skeleton. Again, I'm still in 17. This is the Cowboy Hall of Fame, or the National Western Heritage and Cowboy Hall of Fame Museum in Oklahoma City. Great museum if you ever come to Oklahoma City. Again, there's a little bit of marker, probably a Copic. Again, that's downtown. It's in the tunnel. It's an bank of elevators. And I'm still, yeah, kind of a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing there. Some kind of giant eating people. That's a place. Oh, Mr. Catfish. We were waiting for food. I think I was with Ellis that day too. Oh, there's kind of a 60 looking girl. I thought that came out really good. Oh, this is a character called the Night Demon. I saw pictures of it online. I just thought that was a cool character. I came up with a whole backstory for him, and I don't have anything to do with the character. I keep telling them, hey, I want to do something with that character, and they've ignored me. If you've ever read the book, The Star's My Destination, that's the main character. He's got Nomad tattooed on his goalie foil, and he's got Nomad tattooed on his head. I signed it upside down because it's supposed to actually be like this, because at one point he gets kidnapped by some people. It's a science fiction book. It's really good. The Star's My Destination by Alfred Bester. There's the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. Again, bunch of doodles. Oh, this is from my book, from my comic Heaven's Rejects. Issue 1, they fight this hellworm, and so I drew it in my sketchbook. That's before I ever even. That's from just reading it in the script. Here I'm just working on the forearm. The forearm is a pain. Spider-Man, Adam Strange, kind of an odd pose for Adam Strange. Not Adam Strange, Adam Warlock. Yeah. Okay, now I'm into 18. I don't know when I switched. It's somewhere in here. And so apparently, there I was 17. And at one point, I put this book down for a while. I generally work out of about 3 or 4 sketchbooks at a time, because I like a big one for just drawing when I'm sitting here at my desk or whatever. And then I like a small one. I have a bag that's real small that I can kind of carry around with me when I'm out running around. And this will fit in it, but you can't put like a 8.5 by 11 sketchbook, like a hardbound sketchbook in it. There's some figures. I don't know who that guy is, but I thought it came out kind of good. Kind of a punk elf looking guy. Was it Gwenpool? Or Wonder Woman? Some kind of Dungeons and Dragons type character. Just working on arms. Figure. a robot. I thought this robot turned out terrible. I was trying to draw like some kind of robot type. In fact, that was one of those deals where I set the sketchbook away for a little while. I'll draw something bad and just set it down, working with the other three I've got going or whatever. I keep these are the main characters. Heaven's Rejects. It's the angels. Very honey raven. But I keep thinking, because this has almost 400 pages in it, that'd be great to start one on the new year. But it never works out where I've got one. I was going to do it with this one, but I wasn't. I was going to start a new one after this one, but I'm still not done with this one. Some heads. And you can see there the contrast between the two colors. A little Tom Baker Doctor Who, kind of cross-eyed looking. Iron Fist. I love Iron Fist. Misty Knight. And again, here I'm just trying to work out the figure. Since I draw comics, I'm trying to draw Punk Storm, Cyclops. Cyclops is the man. Since I draw comics, I'm always trying to figure out that heroic figure. It's got a little bit different proportions than a regular figure. I was listening to some figure drawing lecture, so I did some doodling. Just a restaurant. I don't think I drew this from life. I think I drew this from my imagination. Figures. Again, trying to draw a simplified figure that I can quickly draw in a comic page, and then if I need to, I can either put clothes on it or go in and put more muscles on it. More ink drawings. I like drawing in ink. I don't do it all the time. Another terrible mech. That's what happens. I was too old to watch Battletech when I was a kid or whatever. I kind of missed out on all those. I was what was it? With the Starship Yamato, that was my Star Blazers. That was mine, and there was no mechs in there. Just experiment with different kind of things, and you can see the tooth in there. It's not good. It's not good with like colored pencils, unless you want a real rough look. You'll pick it up, but it does pretty good. These were probably mostly done with a like this was done. I think this was done with like a Blackwing. You know. So soft isn't bad, but it's that colored pencil. Oh, this is downtown Oklahoma City. Again, this is right out the front door of my wife's work, and you can see I kind of smudged to make a little bit of atmosphere on the thing. If you've ever watched a Thunder game, the Thunder Arena is like down a couple blocks from this big building here. That's the Chesapeake Arena. There's another. I must have been downtown. That's a pretty decent figure. It's a good Cyclops because he's not overly big. More figures. That was a good Conan. Yeah, it's an okay Conan. Oh, the drawing exercise. Just drawing hair. Oh, and I'll get a wild hair. Speaking of hair and draw. Okay, so now I'm into 19. So this is last year's stuff. I don't know if any of these were dated. I don't think so. If you do a sketchbook, date your stuff. Oh, that's 19. Okay, so at some point in here, oh, that's 18. So some point in here we turn, and it's cool to look at this stuff. That's my friend's kitchen. That's my friend I do a podcast with, D.L. Nelson. Better Than Fiction. If you like my art, you can check out more of my art at scottsackett.org. Experiment with different colors. Now, these are some characters I had to draw for issue 2 of Heaven's Rejects. The girls fought them. Oh, another thing is this has a bookmark that you can see. Now, it's gotten kind of frayed and a little dirty, but I mean, I've had this everywhere. At one point, I had something like a bead or something tied in the end of it. I thought I was a pain in the neck. But it's nice with this many pages to have a bookmark. There's Tom Selleck. That's a decent likeness. Not great. More figures. Muscles of the arm. A lot of muscles in your arm. Kind of a Joker-esque figure, maybe. And again, you can see I'm always taking notes. So some figures. This is my design for my tree pod. This says tree pod, but it's actually a pod chair. That's something I've actually built. It's like you sit in it. It looks about like that. It's got leaves on the outside and lights and leaves on the inside. Okay, so this is. I wanted to learn make her. I studied a lot of comic artists, and of course a guy that I really like is a guy named John Byrne, who's pretty famous in comic circles if you're not a comic book reader. Anyway, I realized one of the things I like is how he built the figure. It's kind of a powerful looking figure, and so I was trying to. So this is one of his that I've cut out, and I just tried to copy that, just to get his proportions. I don't think any of these are quite right, but you can see I'm working on it, and I'll refer back to that, and it's good. That's not bad. That's my dog. If you're trying to learn stuff like that, it's okay to like make notes in your sketchbook. I mean, that's kind of what it's for. I always refer to this as my secret sketchbook because I generally don't show this to people. Not bad. Magneto, some of the X-Men. Kind of a 90s Cyclops. I think I drew this. I think I was somewhere and I saw this out the window. I don't know where I would have seen a Hertz van, though. That's definitely drawn from imagination. That may have just been something I just drew out of my head. I try and do... I like to draw out of my head, but I also like to draw from observation. Oh, kind of a Dungeons and Dragons elf looking thing. For example, this I drew when I was waiting for lunch one day. I was sitting by the window. A dragon. Figures. See, I think my figures are getting more solid looking. At 19. I wish I knew what month I was in. Like an Elvis. So it may have been around August, because that would have been Elvis died in August on my birthday. Not the day I was born, but. So this is downtown. It's that restaurant that Ellis and I were eating at earlier. I don't think Ellis was with me this day because I didn't draw him. This is the Oklahoma City Memorial for the bombing in 95. They just had the anniversary for it. They couldn't celebrate because of COVID-19 or COVID-19. Sorry. Again, still working on the forearm. It's a figure, kind of a hobbit with a torch. Oh, okay. This is the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. This is the sticker you got to wear if you walk around. I'm a member though. And so I'll go and draw. So this is some stuff I drew. They have like dioramas, life-size dioramas. So one of them's like a chuck wagon. I don't know. This is just a guy on a horse. I think I made that up. I don't think that's from life. I think I made that up. Some armor, kind of a Spartan armor. Oh, I wanted to draw a voodoo woman. I forget why. There was some reason. Oh, okay. So this is a laundromat. Now, my wife and I helped my cousin at the laundromat, and so I'll take my cousin's laundry to. My cousin doesn't drive. I'll take her laundry to the laundromat. So. Anyway, so that's kind of what this is for. I was waiting one day, I drew this. So it's 8/24/19, so almost a year ago. Some more figures. That's the break room of my work. Kind of a Shadowrun kind of figure. X-Men. This is from the 45th Infantry Museum. I know exactly what this is from. Because they have a Jeep looking thing, they got a room. If you're ever in Oklahoma City, that's another museum to go to. It's free. They have a donation box, but they have a great like a garage with armory. Yeah, I see it's 45th Infantry. And then they have a hall. It's got all these guns and stuff. It's pretty cool. I don't know what that was. I get a lot of stuff like this where I'll start and then they'll bring food, so I'll stop drawing. The bombing memorial. This may have been all on the same day, actually. Just figures. I don't know. I wanted to draw a trailer. So this is my impression of a trailer. Like a vintage one, because you see the console TV. Oh, kind of I made up an X-Men. Like a 90s era X-Men with not enough pouches, but he's got the shoulder thing. This is completely made up, but it's just a tunnel that I wanted to make. Now this is in my mom, I remember drawing this. I drew it from memory, but it's part of the Oklahoma City Tunnel. Oklahoma City Tunnel doesn't look like this, but this is part of it. I just drew it from memory. Figure, just a monorail station, or not a monorail, but kind of a subway station, but not really, just based off of something out of my head. His marble. Oh, the Beast. Trying to channel the John Byrne model for the Beast. Wolverine. Figures. More figures. I think that's from Under the Silver Lake. I think there was a homeless guy that was wearing a crown. So I think I drew that. Oh, and again, I'll make myself some notes. It's interesting. One of them is Murder. These are books I'm looking for. One of them says Murder at the ABA by Isaac Asimov, which is a book about a murder at a book convention I just read. It's really, I finally found it. So there's some figures. And I feel like my figures are getting more solid. And the proportions, I'm kind of nailing the proportions. That's a pretty good Conan. His chest could be a little bit bigger maybe. He's a little lean, but... that's a good Conan. Again, I'm at the laundromat. Oh, okay, so I had jury duty, and I took my sketchbook. So this is the courtroom. We were waiting to get in court. And I pasted my thing there. This is the judge that was on the jury. She came up one day, and she was wearing this real long puffy coat, and it just struck me as kind of interesting. She was real skinny, and it was just an interesting thing. Oh, this is this is a bagel place. And I drew, this is my dog wearing a sweater. This was back in December, or maybe it was November, December, or something like that. Oh, those are my notes for the trial. You can't take notes during the trial, but one morning before I went to court, the day we had to, I was on a murder trial, and so the day they dismissed us and said the day before the final day, they said tomorrow there'll probably be closing arguments, and you'll have to render a verdict. And we found the guy guilty. We put him away for life with no possibility of parole. It was a sad deal. I don't want to go into details, obviously. It was a Conan. Okay, this is Leadership Square in downtown Oklahoma City. It was Christmas, so you can see the Christmas balls. I was looking at this. This is a guy, there's a Greek restaurant down there, and I was trying to draw it from a different angle from the angle I was looking at, if that makes any sense. This was probably a Friday, because I work half days on Friday. So I probably went downtown on Friday after I got off work. And the next day I went to the laundromat. That's 12/21. So this would have been probably the Saturday before Christmas. Oh, yeah, in fact, Christmas Eve, I watched the movie A Christmas on Mars, which has the Flaming Lips in it. It's done by Wayne Cohen of the Flaming Lips. And that's Wayne dressed as a Martian. The Flaming Lips, or at least Wayne Cohen. I think Stephen draws. Anyway, the Flaming Lips is an Oklahoma City band that's, gone big. I'm a big Flaming Lips fan. I forget her name. That's a girl that does gaming videos. Let's see. That's a guy that does videos about books. That's a guy, typical gamer. Is him, and that's his girlfriend on the other page. I watched a movie called Empire Falls, and there was a place there called Empire Grill, and it had an Indian on the sign, and so I like my sign better than the sign in the movie. Okay. More figures. Oh, okay, this is back in January. My wife and I went to New York, and it was us waiting in the airport. And this is us waiting on we were in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We had to wait for a plane. That's Minneapolis, St. Paul to JFK on the plane. Oh, this is the Fulton Street subway station. Again, that was drawn from life. Wolverine. Laundry. I'll probably do those on the same day. Figure. So, this is from a movie. I like the scene. I forget what the movie was though. It may have been about the Titanic. It wasn't Titanic, but I think it may have been about the Titanic. I just thought it was cool the way the boat was in the foreground. Okay, more figures. These are copied from How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. There's examples of poses, dynamic poses, so I was drawing those. Oh, drew in ink at the laundromat. I go to the laundromat every week. Oh, okay, there's a character from the comic I'm drawing right now. In fact, I'll show you the... So this is this character, and that's his initial design for my comic book. Triumph TR6. I was cleaning out my studio. I found a magazine that had an old Triumph, had pictures of old cars and old sports cars. So I drew his Triumph from one. That figure looks pretty decent, I think. Oh, I was drawing like an old school kind of Dungeons and Dragons illustration. Oh, there's another one. I thought this came out really good. It's a leech, I guess, lich. And this is this year, by the way. So this is, because of the COVID-19, you can't go to the comic shop. And they've canceled a lot of comic conventions. And I really miss going to comic conventions and comic shops. And I think I've kind of been nostalgic for when I was a kid. All these comic conventions were at hotels. They'd rent rooms in a hotel, and they'd have a room. They might have like a couple guests, and they'd have a room that they'd do talks in, panels in, and then they'd have a room they'd show movies in. That used to be a big thing because you didn't have streaming movies, you didn't have DVDs, you had Blu-rays, you didn't even have VHS tapes. So there were like a lot of movies like a lot of old science fiction movies that you might never see unless you saw them at a comic convention. One time I went to one and they were showing Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D. But anyway, they would rent it, but they were in a hotel, and so it was all like the ballrooms and stuff, the hotels. It wasn't like now where there are big convention centers, and they weren't real big, and this is kind of was like. It'd be, anyway, I just drew that because I thought, I kind of missed that. And I had, because of the virus, I've been working from home, but I've had time to work. I've had time to do extra stuff because I'm not commuting back and forth to work. This is a restaurant drawing from just my imagination. This is my dog. I drew her this way, and then she laid her head down, so I drew her like that. And you can see where I'm at. I'm drawing figures. And then I've still got, quite a bit of pages to go. Now, and you can see, this needs to be glued. But it's all together. I glued it early on the front, but I need to put some flexible glue in there so I can bend the spine. Not too worried about it at this point. I use it, so because I carry this for so long, I've used it to write down all the movies and stuff I've watched. I'm not doing it this year. I'm doing a couple of them. Anyway, that's kind of my review. Again, this is originally a Fabriano Classic Artist Journal. This is the 7x9 size. They make one that's smaller, so this is the biggest one they make. And it's got 192 pages. It's a great little sketchbook. I keep saying I should just carry this one. You are limited on size. You can see how big it is. But I like the way it's put together. It feels good in your hand. And it is mine's kind of coming apart, but I've carried it for 4 years. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the art. I hope you enjoy. If you buy one of these, I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, occasionally you'll find them on sale for like $15 or $20. Typically they're around 30, maybe 25 or 30. Last time they were 15, I bought 4 of them. Anyway, if you like this, you like the art, please take a second to leave a comment or a thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more of my art, check out my webpage. It's scottsackett.org, SCOTTSACKETT.org. I'm working on a comic book called Heaven's Rejects. It will be coming probably after the virus, probably coming early 2021 from Source Point Press, written by Greg Wright. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.